Hello and welcome to the Stream of Chaos. My name is Dave and I will be your keeper of arcane lore for this session, Call of Cthulhu. Today we are resuming our playthrough of The Order of the Stone, a 3-part campaign which you can find for yourself over on the Chaosium.com website. We are the Stream of Chaos and we do stream it live each Friday on Twitch, and all of our videos are collected over on the Chaosium YouTube channel. This is episode something or another of this campaign. We are quite a ways through it and we are resuming deep in the action of chapter 2, where our investigators have come head to head with a rival slash ally cult, both investigating the same location, which is now ablaze and a rapidly maddening. I'm going to sort of set the scene and repeat where we sort of left things last time, and then we're going to go around the table, reintroduce our investigators with that sort of context of burning buildings, waking up corpses, you know, bad kind of stuff. So, you are at the harbour that is owned by Lucas Barnes. It is mostly gravel, surrounded by cliffs, and to both sides there are like tall, shrouded woods, one of which goes back towards Greyport. In the bay, your boat, the Foggy Sea, has been anchored not too far from the shoreline, and your companion and crew member, Joe Evans, has been left aboard. The house itself, Lucas Barnes's, is on fire. A sort of blaze is slowly consuming from the western side, which is beginning to like cause cracks and breaks as the roof buckles underneath. Further up along the road, a car, seemingly abandoned by the Order of the Stone members, has Luce McAllister and Gaspar Green sort of propped open the hood and have carved another one of these symbols, these wards against Agran Talent Soth underneath the bonnet. They are just there having a conversation, which we're actually going to return to, as further up, Paul Garrett and Bernie Green were investigating a corpse which had tumbled down into one of the bushes. There are signs of scattered, ejected casings from a Tommy gun or other weapons around, and it looks as though people may have gone further up into the woods. That corpse has just been turned over, revealing a puckered lamprey incision in the chest, from which the heart has erupted into black ichor, and a foul tendril has fired towards the two of you as the corpse rises back to its feet. Things are looking not very good. If we can each introduce who we are and how we're feeling. Art, begin with you.
Hi, I'm Art. I'm playing Luce McAllister, ship's mechanic, resident fire axe wielder. I personally think this is going great.
Just killing
Luce,
it.
on the other hand, not fully sold on the whole experience. Yeah, I don't know. I think that's probably the extent of it. This sounds like a great time. Luce, doesn't agree with me. Yeah. Yeah, do I need to give a description of Luce at this point?
I think we know who
Ship's
Luce is.
mechanic.
We're probably gonna
Scottish vaguely.
We'll return to you and Gaspar in a moment for your conversation before everything erupts into violence and catastrophe. Speaking of violence and catastrophe, Jackson.
Hey, I'm Jackson, and I'm playing Violence and Catastrophe. Well, just Catastrophe. I'm playing Gaspar Green, who was the ship's cabin boy, kind of ship's wizard, about to be resident ship's mental health patient, because I am indefinitely insane, and seeing anything else untoward is going to send me into another bout of madness, which is coming up. But I think there's nothing in the rule book that says my magical wards will stop working after I'm dead, so that's good news. So the plan is just to keep my eyes away from any spooky stuff and hope that that extends the lives of my companions as well.
Keep those fingers crossed. All right, I'll go across to Jim.
Hello, yes, I am Jim. I'm playing Paul. I stood too close to a corpse and now it's tentacling at me. This is the problem of our age, and I highly recommend that you avoid corpses with tentacles in them for this reason.
This is a public service announcement. For all of our
Sponsored by the
listeners,
Paul for surviving this session campaign.
please donate accordingly. Give what you can. Go across to Alex.
Hi, I'm Alex. I'm playing Captain Bernie Green of the Foggy Seas, having a really bad day. I don't want to be here. I want to be out on my ship with my crew. I would like to rewind to before the point where my grandson went cuckoo. Yeah, everything sucks. Thanks.
Yeah, all very, very true. So we will, Luce, you mentioned you wanted to speak with Gaspar. So with the context that probably midway through this conversation, it'll be interrupted by screams and squelching, we will zoom in on the two of you, where you sort of pulled Gaspar aside to talk with him by the Order of the Stone's abandoned automobile.
I'm gonna be honest, Dave. When I was like, "Hey, can I have a conversation with Gaspar?" a week ago, there was a lot less in my brain than there is now.
I see.
And a lot of what has gone into my brain in the last week has fully ejected whatever plan or idea I had. And unfortunately, the only note I had from last week is cultists going in alone. Parentheses. We didn't die. So like, I don't know where my head was at. So I think this conversation is gonna be so nondescript that it's just, hey Gaspar, come over here, yell.
Okay, it can be a footnote then. That's all good.
I suspect it was something along the lines of bigging Gaspar up in terms of what he's been able to do and giving him a bit of like, you know, hey, you're doing great, buddy. Maybe try not to stare at the sun. Also, I'm here for you. Let's do this.
Let's just assume we had that conversation.
And we'll just, Gaspar, do you want to just assume you feel better?
I feel so much better. Okay. I will restore 3d6 sanity points.
You will not.
If what I actually intended to talk about ever comes back to me,
you can have a separate conversation. Yeah, that's fine. The multiple conversations can be had. Okay, fantastic.
Tell you what, you can speak first at the funeral.
Wow.
Amazing.
Generous.
I shall.
I tell you what, actually, Luce, I will ask you to make a social roll.
Okay.
Persuasion charm. This is going to be keeping Gaspar distracted and out of the way of the things that happen. If you succeed this, he will not be present and doesn't risk the forthcoming bout.
Because the only skill I have social-wise is intimidation, and I'm very specifically not trying to intimidate Gaspar at this point. You know what? Let's try Lucky Charm. Because
why not?
My persuade and my charm were both base.
I think that's kind of what we're going for.
The charm got a little bump because I critted.
Cool.
So I don't know. I'm really sorry if I fumble this.
Okay. Not a fumble. You guys have what we must assume was a heartfelt moment. But Gaspar, you are already in sort of an underlying madness state and constantly looking over your shoulder, keeping tabs on things and trying to get a sense of what is happening. As such, although when things begin to go wrong, I guess you can probably like crouch and plug your ears. You will be aware that things are going badly, but basically this isn't going to avoid it for long. Okay. So,
speaking of heartfelt, the cultist has tentacles coming out of his heart. It needs workshop. Come back to me.
We are going to go into combat order. So by dexterity. Gaspar, you were distracted, so you actually normally will act first, but I'm going to have the second fastest creature, which is going to be this erupting corpse act. And then we're going to go to Paul and Bernie to see how they feel about it. So it describes you guys sort of moving along and turning the body over, seeing this fissure carved into the chest, which promptly splits open, the heart splatters, and a long tendril wrought from shadow erupts out with this ridge of white teeth all along the underside. As it does, there is a sucking sound from the organs as it appears to be pulling them out, sort of inverting them to get the length needed to slice towards Paul and Bernie. Now, of the two of you, who has the lower luck? I'm going to target this at them.
Tell you in
35.
just a moment. I have a luck of 49.
It's me.
Okay. All right. Bernie turns over
I
and
am extremely glad I'm not in this scene.
races towards you.
Not we all.
That is a failure. Fortunately, you are able to start backwards. It lands across the side. You can see it cut across your jacket somewhat. And as it does, on instinct, where the underlying teeth run, it tries to wrap around your torso and pull you in. It does fail this, but it's beginning to get itself up now as it rises to its feet. That sort of wet sucking of lungs pulling in more water than air as it rises. That is going to be it. We are going to go to... can I get Bernie and Paul both make sanity rolls for me, please? And that will determine
Story checks out.
just where we're at.
We're a lot of fun here, but heartworm is a very serious disease that affects pets across the country.
This is our second public service announcement.
Yeah.
Cool, that's awesome. For you.
I might, given I went insane last time I saw something like this, I think I'm going to bite the bullet and luck that, Dave.
I believe we can't luck sanity rolls.
Oh, yeah, sorry, what I'm talking about. Never mind.
Work.
So, Bernie, that is a success. You're only going to take a point. James, that is going to be a failure.
Really?
You are going to take a
Such a shame.
D6.
Very good.
The sanity was so nice. Oh well.
Such a nice and even.
Such a nice number.
2.
Okay. Each of you, I'll pass you to describe your actions, but you are capable of directing yourselves. For one
Yeah, I'm
thing,
running.
you
I'm running.
immediately, what I'll say, you have that feeling of, this is a familiar evil, basically. It, same as when you first, came into this cove, Bernie, you can feel, you're back on the ship. And Paul, you actually had one of the closer encounters, well, Bernie too, both of you were probably some of the closer ones, with Agram on the champagne. And you don't know if it's a smell or an energy or something, but it's as if this thing has its mark upon it. This is definitely coming from the same bag of tricks. There's a scream, a yell, and then first to act is going to be Bernie, of the two of you. Bernie, what would you like to do?
Oh, I'd like to run. I'm going. I'm out.
Okay.
This sucks. I'm leaving.
Where are you heading for?
Shit, my boat.
Okay. All right. Bernie bolts. You fly back the way you came, feeling this thing rising and lunging after you. It's quick. It acted before you, and as it gets up onto its legs, you can hear thuds in the sand as either it or Paul is pursuing after you. You round the crackling blaze of the burning house and see Joe standing on a raised chair where the captain can sit and helm the ship, firing backwards into the water. He's focused on something. You make your way about halfway past the house, powering forward.
Yeah, with the house, I will stop at the house, and the house is very much on fire. If I can grab something on the edge of the fire, a plank of wood, something that is on fire, because we do know these things are not a huge fan of an open flame, as it were. So I might, if I can, scoop up a bit of either something that is half on fire already, or a bit of driftwood or a stick or something that is not yet on fire, and make it so.
Could you give me, do you have a survival skill? This is just to see how, significant a stick you can get without taking damage.
I think
No, I
survival is
Actually, there's a little more to it than just that. But
I have natural world.
I'll take it. That works for me. With a particular angle. Okay.
Never mind.
You reach out and you take up you grab one of the... There's banisters out the front, to a porch. You wrench one of those back. They're cracking already. This will be a sizable, hefty weapon. D6, and it's ablaze. As you pick it up and sort of hoist it forward, you sort of wrap it to your coat for a moment to prevent it from burning your own hands. And as it does, it lights the coat, just the edge at first, but it's quick, even though the coat was already somewhat wet. And as it begins to slide across it, you see an activity, an energy within the flame that
Nope.
does not appear
Oh, no.
completely regular.
Right.
It's
Stop,
sort
drop,
of like
roll, thank
it's
you.
like a rat dropped onto your shirt that's now trying to clamber up towards your neck. We're gonna park you there for the moment. You are technically on fire. All right. Next up, actually, given where you're positioned, you hear from inside the house something clatter and clang. It could be beam shifting. That's definitely happening a lot. Could be something else. You suspect that there was someone in there. That will resolve what's ever happening there. We go down to Paul next. James, how do you react to the monster, and what would you like to do?
The sanity hit's pretty heavy, but it's not enough to send me indefinitely insane. I think it's a moment of shit as I fumble for the machete thing that I've grabbed, and then I yank that out, and I'm going to try and heroically, in my mind, just lop off that entire tentacle, and the whole thing's going to go limp.
Awesome. We love it. All right, go ahead and give me a fighting brawl roll.
Fighting brawl. Okay, that is a rubbish fail.
Okay. It is going to riposte you, so I'll make an
bad.
attack of my own. And it also fails. Battle of the Red. You slice out towards it, its tendril lashes forward, and although you are unable to deal any damage, you do have its attention, and as Bernie begins to race away, it stops its pursuit and rounds on you. It sort of like twists around as this fight is happening, and from Luce and Gaspar's perspective, you heard the yells, you're aware that something odd is happening, but you can kind of just see the brown robes of the cultists. You can't see the detail of the horror underneath it from this angle. It's very much focused in on you though. And though this is a reanimated corpse of some style, it does not bear the trademark slowness or sort of like stumbling nature. This thing is quick. It's like its muscles are wired up and sped up, if anything. It's probably faster than it was in life. Okay. Gaspar, I know you normally act quicker on dexterity, but I'm going to kind of slide you down the bottom just in reaction to this scene, and then we'll put you back to your rightful place in the next round. So, Luce and Gaspar, you hear the yells and see something happening. I think what I'd like you to do is make a sanity roll with a bonus dice here, because you're kind of avoiding the brunt of it, but aware that things are going wrong. You see a flash of something flying past. You're not sure what that was. You're trying to just lay it together.
Well, the bonus dice is a 0, which normally would be great.
We're not gonna
but
want that.
I already have a 0 on my 1, so that would be 100. But luckily, I rolled a 10. So I have an extreme success on sanity at this point in time.
Okay.
Can I have your 10?
Unfortunately,
Okay.
no, but it was worth asking. Oof.
All right.
You do have a bonus.
I need a 0 or a 1.
20%. Oh, well done.
Ooh, I didn't see that coming.
The distraction just holds, and though these creatures are a tickle, even on a success, I think the nature of how you're seeing it is not going to inflict that, but you're also not building up that tolerance to repeated sights, so if you see one full on, you may still have a separate problem. Neither of you are going to take any sanity hits from this. You can see things are going wrong. You hear the gunshots. Bernie races, yells fire, throws herself towards the gravel. What would the two of you like to do? You may act in any order.
Can you drive this thing?
Can I drive the car?
Can you drive it into it? Can you drive it into a thing?
There's Gasper, there's just as much likelihood I hit Paul if I mean, I can drive a car, but I can't rally drive a car, if you know what I mean. Like, I can get the gal moving and I can point it in a direction, but if we're ramming something, then I want to make sure that there's nothing except the thing I'm ramming in front of me, and ideally that thing's like a tree or something that don't move.
This conversation's gone too long already. I'm going to see if I can start the car.
Okay. All right. Gaspar takes the initiative and slides across into the driver's seat. There's no sabotage was done. The car roars to life. That will be your turn, but you are in control of the automobile, and it's working. Art, what would you like to do?
I am shocked that you go to a haunted house in the middle of the night,
Lights
with
start
woods all
flickering,
around. You
yeah.
find the car, and the car works. That's outstanding.
How good's that? Luce, what would you like to do?
Oh, I mean, I can't say that I didn't also have the idea of ramming this thing with a car. I just then looked at my drive skill and was like, well, it's 20, so...
You guys are really
I
boat
can
people.
drive.
Try and ram the car and hit me by accident. That's completely fine.
Yeah. The other alternative is to just go full berserker and run at this thing and bury an axe in its spine. However, the captain did piss bolt in the other direction, is currently on fire, and Joe is shooting at something. And while I am aware to some extent that the car and maybe Gaspar has a protective symbol on them, I am concerned for the life of the captain and for Joe.
You do what you gotta do.
Yeah, The only thing would be Gaspar, if Gaspar looks at Luce with a look of get in, then Luce will stick with Gaspar. But if Gaspar's like, one track, I'ma just do this thing, Luce is gonna be like, all right, well, you're the wizard, and this is technically a wizard car. And
Let's just see what happens.
look, maybe I will get a bollocking from the captain when they realize that I've left their grandson alone in a car, but the car is a wizard car, and I'd like my captain to not be on fire. So I'm going to run in the direction where Bernie is, because here's the thing, Dave.
Yeah.
I've only really got to use the welding skill once. I would like to argue that hear me out.
Elaborate.
I would like to argue that being both the mechanic for the ship that has a boiler and having welding gives me a little bit more of an understanding of the nature of fire and things around, like, how fire consumes materials. So essentially what I'm asking is, if I go over and be like, that's something within my wheelhouse to do. I have probably set my own clothes on fire a couple of times.
That's what I was going to say. Learning welding, like the first step of learning welding is learning how to put yourself out.
I mean,
right?
And probably like boiler making as well. You're like, oh, this was bad. Nope. Okay, all my eyebrows gone again, but hey, at least I'm not still on fire.
going like well before welding, one of the greatest fears on a ship is flame. Historically always kept water buckets and things to douse them, very strict regimens around candles and things, and this would carry forward into the 20s and today. You guys all know your way around fire. Bernie has a very strict regimen on treating it. It is not the sort of thing you play at. When you guys do your fire drills once a year, you do them properly. You all know how to stop, drop, and roll. You have fire blankets on the ship. There's possibly even a ye olde extinguisher. It's still going to be a roll for this instance, particularly given the fire is something strange. But yeah, you guys are all familiar with like what you should be doing, definitely. Do you want to go and try and just fly? I was going to say fly kick Bernie into the ground, but you know, in a assistive capacity.
How far away from the water is the house? Like, could I theoretically, like, you know, take off one of my boots and fill it with water and yeet it over Bernie? Like, I don't know.
No. You'd have running to the shoreline would be a separate thing. Bernie didn't quite make it to the shore in her run.
Cool. Well, then it might just end up being I fireman carry Bernie and yeet both of us into the water. Okay. That might be. So the first step is get to Bernie and try and get this thing off.
Yeah. Can you give me a strength roll, please?
Certainly.
Given you do have, I'm just checking, you have a build that is higher than Bernie's, go ahead and do this with a bonus. I think for this like particular role, you're just fireman carrying her up and away.
Yeah,
Success.
And I ditched my size when I did the age up process. Like, yeah. I am a tiny old woman.
Okay.
The aim is still to get to Bernie and like try and put the fire out.
Yeah.
Because I don't desperately want to put us in the water. That seems like a bad plan, but I will get us to like near water and also towards Joe, which is where we wanted to be.
You have Bernie lifted up and over your shoulders. Bernie, you still have a grip on that banister, that weapon.
Oh, I don't know that I do. I think
Up
as
to
soon
you.
as it's the fire on the banister started trying
Homer,
to
are you
eat
still
me,
holding the candy bar? Like...
there is no way. Yeah,
Up
like
to
I'm
you.
the vending machine holding onto the candy bar.
I'm
No,
not
I have
against,
dropped the
like-
It was
banister.
when you kind of place it against yourself that it because you just thought it would be like fire, like it can stand like wet leather for a moment. It won't take. It was only when it like touched
Yeah,
it that it lit.
actively tried to kill me. Yes.
Well, and
When
it's
it
still
climbed
trying to
up
do
me.
that, to be fair. So
Yeah.
okay, cool. All right, you drop that sensibly. Some might argue. And are carried towards the shoreline. Luce, are you going straight down the gravel to the shallows, or are you racing along the jetty? The jetty would definitely be the quicker of the two, and it would let you from there possibly even like leap to the boat or something, whereas otherwise you're wading through water.
I think that's going to, this is probably a stupid thing to worry about, but if I get on the boat with Bernie on fire, am I convinced I have enough time and there are things on the boat that I can use to put Bernie out? Or is Bernie enough on fire that it is like, no, we need to douse this immediately?
You have successfully gotten Bernie to the edge. You're not getting... This has been your full turn getting her to this point anyway. She can probably from here get herself to the boat or throw herself into the water or something. It's just the path you want to take.
I'm still concerned about Evans shooting something.
Yeah.
So
Sensible.
assuming that
We'll
we
simply barrel roll into the sea.
Okay, so yeah, I will if Bernie is okay to handle this from here, I will deposit Bernie next to the shoreline and just continue running towards the boat because I have tools on me. What I have on a boat is a welding iron, and I feel like maybe burning a hole in some of these things might be a way of making it go away. And a blowtorch, while very short range, very, very hot. If these things can take...
Yeah, that
I know
sounds
they
cool as
can't
hell.
be
Do
properly
that.
destroyed, but if a blowtorch can melt metal, I'm hoping it can melt an eldritch monstrosity if necessary.
And we will find out. Okay. You deposit Bernie just on the edge of the jetty and continue along your ways. You're both basically at the same spot, but direction is telegraphed. The last action for this round is Paul. Can you make a listen roll, please?
A listen roll, I certainly can. No promises about succeeding at it, though.
Yeah.
If we've learned anything, Paul is a fantastic listener.
Nicely done. You hear first of all, you're going to hear the car beginning to, like, spark to life and wheels churning, and part of you is like, maybe they'll drive at me. I need to get ready for that. The other one, the other one is you hear a scream and another rattle of gunfire from deeper inside the woods, but not far, and you actually think possibly approaching. So we go back to the top. Paul is engaged with this thing, this woken corpse, and Gaspar is wheeling the car about not far from here, possibly to drive into him, possibly to drive away. Unclear. There is something further in the woods, potentially coming back. The house has been charged past by both Luce and Bernie. The flames are continuing to lick through it and is beginning to buckle down now. Luce is now approaching the boat, the Foggy Sea, where Joe can just be seen stepping over towards the back and firing towards something in the water. Rat, 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 again and again. Top of the round, Joe actually acts first. He's the fastest of everyone here. You see him vanish down the side and go straight towards the back, where bang, 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 he fires again. And then, although you can't hear it, there is the click of his handgun going empty. There is a swear, and he will end his turn. Next to act is Gaspar. Jackson, what would you like to do?
That's me. Car is moving. I am shocked. I do have drive elder. Oh, I think it's base drive
Hit
elder.
the
is
greater
20.
automobile speed pedal.
What's your pilot skill like? Because I would love to have a weird mix of like, I might not be great at driving cars, but I do know how to point something in the right direction.
Pilot boat 35. I think it's a bit different.
I'm not giving you
So I'll
that.
take any bit I can get.
You don't
No.
want to turn left or right. You can only turn port and broadside.
Coming about?
All right.
Starboard?
Yeah, I'm not going to give you that.
I'll swing the car around and like maybe just call out to
Nudge.
Paul, get clear if you can. I'm not going to drive it into Paul. I'm going to see
Paul
if
has-
he can get clear.
Paul has succeeded his lesson, and when I narrate the last thing, has kind of woven around so that you're looking at the back of the cultist's robes and you're looking at him. He looks up, your eyes lock. If you want to go for it now, Paul will make a dodge roll. And he's kind of as, rather than fully clear, because the thing will probably pursue him. So now's probably your best time to go. Unless you want to fully give him a full round to set you up. Like he
Enthusiastic
pins the thing and
consent.
races.
But
I'm not going to do
We
it
don't-
without Paul's approval.
Here's the other
I'm
thing.
going to try to lock eyes with Paul and see
Well,
if
yeah.
You got
Paul
it.
is into this.
Oh yeah, he looks at you.
oh yeah, I get ready to dodge. I assume you're going to do it, whether or not it's like, oh shit.
I'll also say-
I'm a bad dodger, but go for it. Yeah.
Also, Gaspar, you are a little paranoid. Like there is that sort of, twitchy, like you taking it on yourself, yada yada yada. It's however you want to play it. But I think
Also worth noting, we don't know whether these marks work on like the minions. This is
That's
a good way to
true.
find
That's the
out
main
because
thing.
there's a chance that you get within like 5 feet of it and it just
Tears
cannot
itself
be
apart.
there anymore. So at a minimum,
All right.
maybe you
if I'm
made yourself a
getting-
little safe carriage. Who knows?
If I'm getting full approval from Paul,
Yeah.
Oh, I am
in the
giving
sense
it.
of shit starts to dodge. Yes.
I would like to run over the cultist creature.
okay. Give me a drive auto text, please. Check, please.
Oh, I was afraid you'd say that. Watch me fumble. Not a fumble.
Okay.
Regular failure.
So,
51 points of luck is more than twice what I have.
yeah, it's a big investment. Car does come towards. So, Paul, I will ask you to make a dodge roll, and I'm going to roll one for this thing as well.
My only thing is, can I try and make a jump check to up onto the windshield instead? Because I
God, yes, James. God, yes. What a question. Yes,
and
roll
it works with a
jump.
hard success.
Ah!
Oh,
Paul
thank goodness.
Flips over, like pushes off with an arm. Do you want to land in the passenger
the
seat,
thing that
Jim?
everyone tries to do, and they end up just hitting the windshield, bouncing off, and then getting run over. But I do it right and bounce kind of over the car. Yes, it worked.
Do you want to land in the passenger seat, Jimbo?
If I can, sure. If it's an open car, I absolutely. I'll land. flat on the
Me
back.
forgetting we're not playing Pulp immediately.
I land sprawled across the back
yeah.
with someone's
We're
bag.
But, like, on the
always
car.
playing.
Yeah.
See, here's the secret. We're always playing.
Always Pulp. So the car comes about and it whomps into them. You see, with the value, you see the body be sort of pushed backward slightly, but then you quickly jam into trees and things. It is not grossly damaged, but it is hit. Jackson, go ahead and roll a just do a d4 for me. I think this is pretty incidental.
A glancing blow.
Yeah, that's right.
Eh.
Yeah, it gets sort of like knocked back
That's
through the trees.
heartbreaking.
Here's what you do notice though is it's hard to tell given like it's these old timey cars with those like great big hoods to the front. It actually looks like it got repelled before the car hit.
Yeah,
It got kind of
it
like,
did.
you know, those like big soccer, like those giant inflatable balls that people run around in and slam into one another. It had a bit of that as well, boom, and got thrown back towards the tree line.
Just before making contact.
Yeah.
Outstanding.
So it is
All
knocked
right,
back
now we're in
slightly.
business.
Okay. That is Gaspar's turn. We go now to it. It falls backwards, gets back up, and tries to push forward. You're sort of like currently there's a bit of like back up as you're throwing it into reverse. It hits what looks to be like an edge of this barrier and then begins to like push through it. This is not the terms of the spell. This is something you'll need to look into later. Basically, it's not a total lockout. You don't necessarily know that you expected it to be. It is forcing its way through. I'm going to make a power roll on its behalf.
Ooh, always fun when the I keep thinking reanimated corpse. It's a mindless drone. We've been told it's not, but you know, I keep thinking it'll have zero power.
While we wait for this the number of times that David has mentioned the burning house this
I know.
session and last session really
Yeah.
really
It'll
makes
still-
me feel
Sure is on fire.
like
yeah.
maybe mean,
There's something in there.
we should.
I'm not running into a burning like.
Also,
still be there.
this is possibly
Right.
the first time that we have ever really like been a group of people who've been like, you know what? This specific issue is our issue. Everything else, fuck it. We
Yeah.
don't actually care.
We're
The
also
first time we've
That's not
event
working.
horizoned it and just been like, this sucks, get me out.
yeah.
I don't want to be here. Okay, so I have failed the power roll, and it is visible that this thing has shitty power. But it is still firing through one of the tendrils, sort of like punching through this force, but it did so with a penalty dice. However, it did still succeed. Gaspar, the windshield in front of you shatters, glass erupts down the sides, and as you blink back, sort of like dizzy and blood, you look down to see... Oh, it's already rolled the damage. 8.
How much
Sorry?
of that is going to be taken by the car? Because cars have hit points.
It's
Yeah?
got to go through the windshield first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you have leather armor on. Reduce it by 2.
1 for leather armor and 1 for a car
For
windshield.
a windshield, yeah.
Jeez.
You ever punched through a windshield, Dave?
Yeah, dude,
I
every
will-
day.
What are you doing?
Oh,
I am
I
a menace. I'm the reason
Also,
cops
I
patrol
remember,
Collingwood.
like, 1920s glass. We hadn't got the whole like
That's
the glass that
true.
shatters in like pieces. It's like it is both easier and harder to shatter a windshield these
Wrong.
days.
Punching car windshields is easy. That's the logic I'm going with, and that's what I'm applying here.
I do think I have read somewhere at some point that it is only 1 armor. I think.
I think it has more for like
believe
if it had gone
I
through the
believe you.
sides and things. You stopped,
Yeah,
slowed
'cause
down. You
there's
were
definitely-
basically stationary. I'm giving
That's
you.
true.
I'm giving-
It depends
All
on
right.
where in the car, because I know that I definitely shot Dave's character through a car when we were doing our like GM rounds,
what?
and I think
Yeah.
something happened, and I know that it was enough that it like left the armor was enough that it left Dave on 1 hit point, but it was a sizable chunk, so I don't know, maybe it's like 2 or 3, but
Well, unless
I
I'm
think that
very
was
much
in mine,
mistaken.
in which case, modern cars.
Unless I'm mistaken.
I weakened
there's
it by smashing into it with my ass when I jumped over the.
6 points of damage is a major wound, and I got to make a con roll to stay
Dummy.
conscious.
I
Am
need
wrong?
2
You
rolls
do.
from you then. This is fun. I need a constitution roll from you. I also need a dexterity roll to see if this thing is able to grab you with its tendril as well.
Oh dear. Well, surely
oh yeah,
if
don't
I'm
you get like a
unconscious-
dodge or a riposte for this?
That is true, actually. You would have
Like,
gotten a
you
dodge
just
or a pass.
Dodge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's walk all of this back
Really?
an eensy-weensy little bit. I think the dodge is going to be with a penalty, given you are
I
in a
was driving,
car.
that's fine.
Like, if there's not, but you can roll. You could dodge with drive auto at a straight roll if you wanted to try and throw it in reverse. Race away.
Pretty damn
45
cool.
with a penalty or 20 straight.
I think 20 straight. Go for
I
it.
think 45 with a penalty is
Oh,
better,
45.
isn't
Sorry, I heard 25.
it? Yeah, I'll do that. I'll try to dodge. I'll try to
Go for it.
scramble out of the driver's seat with a penalty die. Oof.
Oh, that's.
Oh, but it is 6
6
points. of luck.
points.
I think that's worth it
Okay.
to
Worth
avoid
it?
taking the major wound.
Nicely
think it is.
done. All right, we are making none of those rolls I just suggested. The windshield breaks.
Fantastic.
You throw yourself across the seat, and you can feel this thing scrape the air above you before it retracts, and the thing continues to push forward. I am.
I have a question. Cars of this era, bit splody. I
Bit
mean, a lot of
splody.
safety features haven't really been invented yet. So, like, if this thing is a little banged up and is currently like being further banged up, at what point does the fuel tank go whomp?
How
When-
much smoke is leaking out of
If
the
this
bonnet?
Just
once this, you did
Here's
fail
the
the roll actually, so I do think the bonnet is a bit like. It's not enough to. If it runs into another burning thing, we're definitely going to be at risk. For the moment, it seems okay though. But yes, I would love to explode a car. That sounds awesome.
There was
Drive it
there
into
was
the
a
burning
point,
building.
There was a point from chat, Dave, that I actually we forgot about, and I'm not. It just would have made a difference, and it's totally fine if you're like,
Yeah.
didn't matter. What about Gaspar's little chest tat?
Another good point. And that
forgot
as
about
it
that too.
approaches, yeah,
Given that he
I
dodged
totally forgot about it.
anyway,
I-
I think we can. I don't know that we need an answer, but I just wanted to honor that Cat in chat
Yes.
had been like, but what about this?
was
And I was
a
like,
very
oh, yeah.
good
That's a
point.
second power roll because
There are a
it
ton
succeeded
of
the
these
power roll
things.
to get
no,
through the bonnet
no,
one.
it failed the power roll and it
Oh, it
rolled.
failed
It
the
rolled with
power
it rolled with a penalty dice.
Fantastic.
We are
We've
going
actually
to.
armored ourselves pretty well.
You've
it
done
turns
pretty
out.
well. Gaspar, I think
No,
for this
Gasper's armored himself well. The rest of us are fucked.
Gaspar, the dodge does it. I would have certainly applied something. Remind me next time, definitely, or I'll try to remember it myself. But yes, that would work.
Thank
as
you,
well.
Kat. Remind us
to
again
help.
next time.
Yes, thank you.
Remind me about the weird stuff I draw on my body.
Okay. That thing goes pushing out towards you, and racing out of the bushes behind it, you see one of the Order of the Stone members. The robes have been like ripped and torn. One of the arms is completely off. The other one's kind of just like dragging behind it. They have the Tommy gun in their hands, but their hand is like, their finger is locked down on the trigger and it is not doing anything, just dry firing at this point, completely empty. And as they go racing around, you see another of these things fully like throw itself behind trees, like through trees to chase after it, and it impacts, and I'll see if it can take it to the ground, which would be very cool for me.
Oh my god.
Does get stuffed. Give you a little dodge just because that's nuts. It hits the Order of the Stone member who's already damaged. They go tumbling down on the ground, but this thing can't latch, and they come up running, and they are chasing towards the car, just going around the second of these monsters, and they are yelling, "Stop! Help! Wait!" As they race towards the vehicle. I will set those onto the map, and we go across to Bernie to act next.
Have I rolled myself in the ocean yet? I would like to put the fire on me out.
Yes, if you throw yourself into the water, splash through, the fire does it resist. You see, there's like bubbles rising, and then eventually the fire is quenched and it does stop.
Yeah, well, the ocean's my domain. I will fully dunk myself to get rid of it. I'm perfectly comfortable doing that. Barrel roll into the ocean.
Perfect.
No longer on fire is ideal.
You can do something else if you'd like.
Well, I'm guessing once I pop my head back up over the little waves lapping at the shore, I will see what is going on over near the bushes, yes?
It's actually quite a ways away. You hear the car revving, you hear help, you hear, there's commotion afoot, but it's kind of a separate space from here, and there's the whole fire between you and them.
And there's the whole something is wrong with my ship. Yeah. Do we still have? I know we're in the era of batteries and torches, but do we still have paraffin lamps and that kind of thing as, I guess, backups?
What is a paraffin lamp?
Oh, so an oil lamp.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah. I think the electric ones are, especially the way I feel like that Bernie does it. You're a little old school on some of these things, right?
Yeah, and I mean, I think they'd still be pretty common. So.
I'm sure there's instances because like the electric lights would only work when the engine's running. So like if the boiler's off, then because like absolutely there'll probably be times where we're like, well, we're out in the middle of nowhere doing fishing. We don't need to run the engine hot and keep like. I mean, I don't actually understand how boats work, so maybe you do have to keep them running, but. The idea of being like, well, we might not have the engine running and we might still need light, so...
Yeah, and you'd always want a contingency plan. And, I mean, even in my own modern home, I have candles as a contingency plan for blackouts, extended periods of time. So, I mean, I also have other things that are flammable, but that's just me personally. But yeah, I think if we have paraffin lamps, what I would probably like to do is make for the ship. Paraffins are really thick, oily liquid, very flammable, burns slow because it's for things like oil lamps where you need it to coat the wick, absorb into the wick slowly, burn with minimal smoke but burn for a long time. So it would be kind of ideal to dump a bunch of paraffin on whatever is coming at the boat and just
Yeah? Oh,
Plum.
for sure. You are going to need to get aboard. You guys kind
Yes.
of made the decision of parking protected, not easily accessible. So what I would like from you is choose your path. You can try and roll swim to swim to the boat and clamber up. You can roll climb to go up the anchor chain, or I think jump to leap from the jetty. Each of these have the same kind of
All good
roll.
options.
Success gets you there this turn. Failure, just you're gonna need to go there slower and you'll get there next turn. A fumble will be like, ooh, as you hit the side.
That was a
Swimmies.
great sound effect.
Swimmies?
No,
Okay.
I am slow.
You begin to like pull your way across, but you're
Right.
you're in like a full like leather jacket. You guys
I
have like your
actually think-
weapons and stuff.
How singed is my jacket after trying to be
It was
eaten by
pretty
this living fire?
momentary. It's like you're
Okay.
not gonna wear it to a nice dinner, but it's perfectly practical. You've done worse to it, honestly.
Yeah, fair. And Alex, the player, is definitely aware that the house is very important. Bernie, the character, is not going anywhere the fuck near it because it just tried to eat her.
Yeah, it tried to eat you. Tempted by a push? Is that where you were kind of saying like we could lose the jacket and roll again?
Yeah.
Okay. Here's what we're gonna do. So, pushing the roll is, I think it's actually probably gonna be, we're gonna lean. You can just lose the jacket to make the roll again, but you're gonna lose the jacket regardless, and no more heavy armor for you. The alternative is you just try and push forward with the jacket, roll that penalty die, that push, and if you fail, it's beginning to get waterlogged and it's really holding you underwater, and we're gonna start like drowning.
I think I'm going to lose the jacket, lose the armor.
All right, go ahead and roll again. So we're kind of apply the downside to this push regardless, and if you fail, you're just in the same situation.
Yeah.
Nicely done. The
Well-
armor slips to the side, and you're able to pull your way through the water and haul yourself up the chain and onto the boat. As you come aboard, you can see the sigil that Gaspar carved, and you see Joe stumble around the side. He's got his gun, and it's a revolver, so he's like trying to like squeeze bullets into it as he reloads, but the whole time he's not looking to you. He's keeping his eyes tracking something moving in the water. He grunts loud enough for you to hear. Under the water, I'm tracking it, coming about now. He starts counting down as it approaches the ladder on the side. At a quick glance, you can't see anything.
I believe him.
What would you like to do? You did get here quick enough. You can start to get one of those lamps.
Yeah, I want to kind of, the medieval thing where like they would dump fire over the walls onto
Yeah.
people coming up.
Sick.
I basically want to do that with oil and yeah.
So
And if I have like a pole, like one of the hawk poles that you
Yep, boat
use
hook.
to pull massive fish out of the water, I would like to have that in one hand, the lamp in the other, douse, and then basically
have-
just try to like spatula it off
Alicia-
the side.
you have nets. You could like
Yeah.
oil, net on top of it, light it on fire.
Yeah.
What's it gonna do? Okay, I will assume you just start
Yeah.
getting the pieces together on this round, because I think
I
that's
want
you
it on
all the way
fire
there.
and not able to like.
Yeah, you are no longer on
light them
fire.
up.
You are on board the boat, and you are getting the implements of this little plan together. Okay. That's Bernie aboard. The door to the house breaks open, and Luce, you're probably the only one nearby to see. Bernie, you'll probably see it as well as you look over. You see Tobias, badly burnt, all down one side, like hair largely lost. One of his hands, like held up under his jacket, not dissimilar to his sister when you first saw her. And the other has a fistful of like papers, singed notes, all manner of things. As he bursts out, wild-eyed, he looks around the area, and then seeing the car, he levels the hand holding the papers and begins to chant, pointing at the other two who haven't spotted him yet. He might be a little bit mad. That is going to be Tobias's turn. Paul, it's your turn.
I haven't spotted Tobias, and my real instinct was about to go, I have to help somebody. I'm not insane enough yet to throw this person away. So my idea was going to be to yell to, sorry, I just forgot Gaspar for a second. Yell to Gaspar, floor it, and then kind of scramble back up, stand up on the back seat, reach out with one hand,
try and like
so
grab
that as the car can be starting, and I can pull this person on yeah.
Yeah, sick.
Have I just had to dodge out of the driver's seat, though?
Yeah, Gaspar's kind of thrown himself aside. Quickest would be to slide into the driver's seat yourself, and just drive. But if you want to rely to Gaspar to get back up and do it, then you can be ready to retrieve this person.
I can probably do it. I can probably get back up.
You're also
Yeah,
kind of,
got me.
it's a lot like, you're like 3-point turn on gravel. Like, this is all pretty scrambly. There's going to be basic drive order rolls for everything until you guys get back to a highway.
Fair enough.
What's your drive order like?
You could also just assist the drive order, Jim.
Yeah, I think assisting is probably the.
Not if you got higher than base.
I do have higher than base because I took time when I started riding my hog.
By all means, take the wheel.
In which case, let's just flip that around. I say, "Give him a hand," and then I jump onto the scramble over and start trying to desperately move. It's just like riding a motorbike. Oh my god, that's fantastic. It
Okay,
works.
nicely done,
Heck
yeah.
yeah.
Paul is in the driver's seat now, and the car backs up sort of down the path, and you... Gaspar now sort of behind you in the rear. Gaspar, it's up to you what you want to do. If you want to try and risk yourself to save this person. They're yelling, stop, help. We'll see what happens on their turn.
If I can do anything with the hard success, my intention is to try and get everyone on. And very much also probably make myself a target for a spell being cast at me.
Yeah. I'm gonna... can you give me an... Can you just give me a luck roll, actually, as you come around?
Certainly. Luck roll coming up.
Easiest to
I just need to reduce the luck that I spent previously. Done. And luck rolled. Fumble.
Sick.
What? No. Jim? No.
Yeah, I am sorry.
Don't do that.
That's
okay.
alright, I would
We're going with it. You see, as your Paul's are like, Paul's a safety man, or like you're the first mate, like you do things properly. That's been my understanding of you. So you're checking the mirrors as you're going back, like adjust them, seat forward, belt on. As you're looking in the rearview mirrors, as you come around, you see Tobias come around, and your intent was help. That's always been your kind of mania, all these things. So you back it up towards him, slow down, and it's only then that you see the madness, the chanting, the point, and you kind of backed further up away from the exit with the aim to help and possibly bring him on with you if you can. All right, that's Paul. Luce, last to act for this round. Well, actually, sorry, the others get to go first. Sorry, Luce, is your turn.
I will just very quickly want to mention one thing. We've got the map up that we're using, and all of my air of mystery about Tobias and fear of him has completely gone out the window. I do not think that the image paints him as very scary.
He's like a guy. Well, we kind of said before, they're like all uni lads, and Tobias in particular is a poncy uni lad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'll show the map for the viewers. I meant to do it earlier, sorry, and I never got around to it. This is the situation as it stands. So I can do some pings. Sorry, we'll return in just a moment. There's a couple of these guys chasing this one fellow. Each of the creatures do appear to have been Order of the Stone members. They both still have the fragments of cloth about them as they chase man out. The house is very much on fire. It's probably more on fire than when I first drew it. We've got Tobias coming out and having a bit of a chant. And Luce now racing along the jetty past the sunken southern winds towards her companions where Joe and Bernie are aboard the foggy sea watching something moving through the water. Alright, we'll go back to Art.
On the boat.
Okay. Do you want to give me a jump or swim or climb? Jump's probably the most sensible since you run along the jetty, and
if I can do a climb, just because it's a little bit my jump is not great. I'm heavy. Like I'm
Totally.
not designed for jumping, but I do have a little bit of extra climb.
Yeah,
My swim
leap
is the
sort of
best,
low
but I
and
don't
then
really feel like it doesn't make much sense to be on the jetty and then.
it'd be just it's a ways away. The jump is like a proper leap. A smaller one would be like splashing down nearby to climb up, or swimming around the side to climb up one of the ladders, things like that.
Okay. Let's try. I'll try climb. That seems like the most appropriate
Makes sense to me.
narratively in this situation. But let's see how we go. Oh, quite well.
Wow, really good. Yeah.
Get a little tick against that one.
Sort
So
of-
Blue survives. Maybe I'll get better.
Imagine you guys have one of those like winches for hauling up the fish. You leap to that, catch, swing around, clambering up it, and drop down onto the boat. Ba-da-ba-ba. That's you still got your full action. What would you like to do? You spot the other two tracking something going through the water.
Oh dear.
I do not know why I did this. I'm sure if I went back and looked at the VODs, I might discover. But apparently I chucked a bunch of my bonus points when we created these characters into throw.
Cool.
Yeah.
Throw's just a good ability.
Yeah, so if I can if I can get myself in a position to obviously if the plan is to trap this thing under a net and then yeet something flammable at it, could I be getting
wanna
in
be
a
the net
position to
person?
do the yeeting?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
I would like to assist with this plan with the power of 70 throw.
70?
Yes!
70?
yes.
I don't know, David. I don't know. I just looked at my character sheet and was like,
Jesus.
where did I get 70 from?
All right, football star.
It must have been like good to begin with, unless I made an error, but I don't think I
You do
did.
have Luz has 40 throw by base, so you definitely put a lot into it. But I don't know, cast those nets.
Oh, didn't we get like a bunch of like?
I
think
gave you
gave
some.
us
in
like a
return.
bunch of
Out, like-
bonuses.
You had some for
Throw-
defining your character at the
Yeah,
start of
stuff
the game.
that's killed us in the past.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Yeah, you've gotten
you
2
gave
points
us-
of freebies.
you gave us an
Yeah.
extra 70 points.
Yeah, right at the start. So that tracks.
Right at the start. So I think
Yeah,
I
yeah.
chucked
For sure. No, I think that's reasonable, and it makes sense for everything. Yeah.
25,
Okay.
and then I genuinely think that maybe I got a bump on it when we did an
Yeah.
advancement or something. But yeah, my throw's at 70.
Okay, so Bernie, from where you are, you can kind of like quickly
Sick.
explain that you know Luce's abilities too, and you can explain that you can be getting the oil ready, you can pass the net across to Luce, and as you come forward, you spot Joe tracking around, and you see something dark, a silhouette, move along the water and just approach the ladder. Can you please give me a throw roll?
Me?
Yep.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were talking to Bernie for some reason.
Success, nicely done. The net goes wide. I'm gonna dodge or riposte this. Probably I'll go for dodge. Then it basically do you want to lock in your hard for 2 points, or are you happy to let that roll?
Yeah, we'll do 2.
Okay.
Make it a hard.
Why not? I say. Why not? Okay, failure.
Need it
see
anyway,
it.
but I'm
The
happy
ne-
with if it gives me a little bit of extra something, then I'm happy.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm happy.
So
Also, it takes my luck to a nice round number. Well, not round. It's a multiple of 5,
Yeah.
which makes me happy. I don't know why.
So the net goes wide around it, perfect cast, and splashes down on this thing just as it tries to surface. This is another of these horrible things, but this one does not bear the robes that the Order of the Stone are wearing. It looks to be, it has like a white shirt at some point, completely drenched now. The body is puffy, like around the skin and everything, and the eyes are completely like bloodshot, as if salt water was sustained. Chest is open though, so that's consistent, and the mouth as well as agape as it tries to like snash down the net, but it takes it, and the weights along the side begin to bring it under as it struggles against the heft. Nicely done. Okay. It is locked in place there. Last person who's going to get a chance to act here is going to be our Order of the Stone member who yells, "Stop, help," but they actually acted last in the round. Just moved them in as they were chased by the minions. So, they are going to try to jump.
Does Gaspar get a turn?
That's why I went
Gaspar goes
first.
after-
It's just been a
the
long
Oh,
round. There's a lot of...
sorry. Gaspar went at the same time as I did the first round, and I got confused.
Actually, I'm going to
Carry
say
on.
I'm not going to roll the cultist yet because the car's not in motion. That's not as much fun for me. Paul kind of reversed backwards. It's engaged with these two things. It basically just tries to like get itself away from them. It's not going to prompt any attacks or anything. And it's ready to move towards the car next opportunity it gets. All right. We pause here and we go back to the top of the round. On the foggy sea now, Bernie, Lucy, and Joe have both all spotted one of these creatures in the water. Visually
Sorry,
somewhat
you just
different.
called Lucy.
Oh, sorry,
Bernie Lucy.
Bernie Lucy. Cute dog name. Have spotted one of these things in the water. It is now weighed down by a net. Joe is going to act first. He is snapping rounds into the revolver and staring down at it. He seems to be handling whatever sanity roll he made reasonably well. Up in the car, Paul is at the wheel successfully, and Gaspar is kind of sprawled across the back seat, just now trying to get himself back up. Tobias behind has his fingers pointed out, hands wrapped around some parchments and notes, and chanting. One of the members of the Order of the Stone is trying desperately to hold back two more of these creatures so that he can get to his car and leave. Go to the top. First to act is going to be Joe. He's going to shoot a couple times at, unless Bernie, have you given any specific instructions? Otherwise, you'll just try and shoot it.
A reasonable.
Well, I mean-
Monday. Yeah.
You could tell
Yes,
him to
that
shoot
seems- that seems
Tobias.
reasonable.
It's within range.
Oh,
I'd need a roll for that, probably. That's a person a bit
Yeah.
more. This thing, like, tendrilled at him and was creepy.
I assume we want to kill the thing that's trying to eat us.
yes, but have I spotted Tobias trying to
You kind of just
magic?
saw it out of it. You haven't fully focused your attention on it. You're a bit busy, but you're aware that he's out there and doing something. Why don't we leave that there for now? He'll try and shoot the thing in
Why
the
don't
ground.
I try and do that?
Yeah,
I
let's
think
do
I've
that.
explained the plan to Luce and yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So
Because I think I don't really have throw.
Luce has successfully done the first throw at least. Oh, sorry, I whispered that because I whispered my first one.
Yeah.
Let me roll his attack. Oh, Joe, you champion. A whopping
Yeah.
3 damage.
Nice.
Joe fires down towards it. The thing's sort of underneath the net. And you see it just like catch it in the jaw, and blood, like normal blood, red, begins to filter out of it. As the
Notably,
thing.
it doesn't. It doesn't do the thing that it might still, but that sometimes you hit a monster and you go, wow, that
Seems
did
to take
nothing.
less damage. No. It definitely takes the damage. -3. And the blood begins to spool out. It tries to scream, but just catches water and gurgling, like thrashes around. And it's actually quite. I mean, the whole thing's uncomfortable. But Luce and Bernie, there's like flashes where this looks like a drowning man reaching out for help and trying to come aboard. You've possibly even like. Maybe one time you worked with the harbor to bring in a corpse that was found or something, and you've seen like bodies left in water for a time. There's a flash of that, but then you see the like blackness inside the mouth, the tendril thing thrashing underneath it, and even if it's some parasitic host within a person, it's very much hostile. That was Joe. Next to act is Gaspar. Jackson, what would you like to do?
My best. What's the situation again? We've got this. We just wheeled the car around.
Yep, you're in the
and
car.
We've seen Tobias.
Yeah, it's backed up. Paul backed it up to sort of possibly help Tobias and has now seen him chanting. You recognize this as the same spell that he tried to show you he could cast, which you had a quick look at and saw that it was a summoning flame sort of
Fire
power.
spell.
Yeah.
Good.
If you can do something to stop this cast.
Counter spell. Hit him with a car. That'll probably do it. Counter spell. Boom.
What's my? Have I got 70 throw by any chance? And I forgot. No. I got 70 stealth.
You want to try and hide?
Up to the ground and then hide.
I mean,
No, he's probably
would-
already
would-
seen me.
Fast talk / stealth / sleight of hand give you like 70 and throwing your voice?
I mean, the impression I get
The
is,
ventriloquist thing, yeah. I'm
Do I
glad
get-
you didn't get us here. Kind of thing.
do I get the impression he's a little bit mad?
He
It's
looks
not.
insane. His eyes are
He looks unwell, certainly. He looks angry. I need a psychology roll to get more detail on him. Yeah, he looks not good. You remember
that.
Gaspar the first time you're a wizard now, so you'll get some more insight into this. You don't believe that Tobias had cast this spell before successfully, and you remember the first time you did it, there was a real sort of draining of power and a real risk of things going wrong. It looks as though he has successfully cast this, or something has lit this whole place on fire. So he now can do so. However, if it had gone wrong on the first one, that's like mind snap, like damage yourself kind of territory. So possibly maybe that happened.
That's true. And I remember reading that even if you fail your first casting, the spell effect still happens.
Counts as a roll push basically to ever attempt it again.
Also, depending on how difficult this spell is, doing it more than once in a small space of time is... He might hurt himself more.
But yeah, it's one of those things where he might, but he also, as long as he still don't want him to take us out, kind of thing.
No, but more like as in this may be mutually assured destruction.
That's what I'm
the thing
thinking.
of going hey, if you're in your right mind and you've tapped yourself out magically, you know not to push it. If you're not in your right mind and you've tapped yourself out magically, you might still cast a spell and blood comes out your eyeballs because
I'm gonna hope
how that works.
that he's still vulnerable to reason. I'm gonna try a little
Damage,
fast talk, assuming that he's still, lucid. I'll say, this car's got a ward on it. It's keeping us all safe. You blow it up and we're all dead.
Okay.
The car's got a ward. It's keeping everything else at bay, which is not true because I've just seen it, almost get me.
I can,
but,
I think this is in the
talking fast.
I know, but it's still your goal is kind of persuade him not to attack you. You're not trying to trick him into something else necessarily.
You hit us and you die. You hit us and you die as well. That's what I'm going for.
We can. All right. This is going to be a pretty.
Take this car and it's the end for you.
I'm weighting these dice against you a bit here, Jackson. This is going to be hard because he's not in his right mind and it's quite difficult. It's also going to be, I think, with a penalty dice because you are yelling over fire, over everything happening. This is pretty difficult.
Fine. With intimidate, it might.
Yeah, and it's also it's a tricky thing. It's not just a yelling. If you cast that, I'll kick your teeth in.
It's hard to be sneaky.
Yeah, it's got.
That's all right. That's all I got. I'm gonna have a go.
Give it a whirl. Why not? Okay, so that is
a shame. That was a penalty die.
Oh yeah, it is. I don't think you're spending 62 points of luck.
Yeah, I could surprise you. That's only 3 times as much luck as I have.
We should use the same luck rules as overspending magic, where if you overspend luck, it starts to damage you. Your nose bleeds, but you make the jumps. That'd be cool. All right,
that's fine. Now I gain the valuable insight that he is not.
He seems
insane.
Unimpressed. You have some movement. Do you want to just kind of slide? Do you want to get back into the passenger seat? Do you want to just prepare yourself to leave? What do you want to do? Prepare to dodge. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You stay in the back two. Between the back 2 doors and hunker down. Okay, it's time for monsters. All right, we've got 2 of them. One of them is going to go past this cultist and try and push forward through the ward again to strike at Garrett. So I'll do a little power roll. They roll actually so well. Their power just sucks. It's going to take a penalty dice. That doesn't look very good.
Excellent.
Yeah. Okay. Would have got it. That is going to be a failure. Paul, I assume you sort of dodge out of the way. It thrashes across. It scrapes through the glass, but does not connect. The second is going to close the distance on the cultist. Now he had his turn to kind of get set up and try and avoid it. So they just sort of chase each other around for a little bit, and I'll give him a bonus dice on his
the Benny Hill thing.
Here we go. There's a failure. This thing sucks. Just kill someone. And you... it doesn't even matter. I don't know why I rolled it. Doesn't matter. The failure from the attack.
Fantastic.
So he's being sort of chased around. He sort of stumbles to the ground, drags himself across. And part of the outcome of the fight is they all move their way towards the side of the road that is your way out, as they just like drag this fight in that direction. That is their turn. It is going to be... Oh, sorry, the last one is underneath the waves. He is weighed down by this net. I'm gonna try and roll... He's just going to try and start, like, just breaking it apart. So I'm just going to give him a straight strength roll. They are very strong. So I'm scaling this on sort of, like, time it takes him to do so. He's underwater, he's being shot at and things. So a regular success is just this process begins. Hard and higher is where he actually suddenly acts. Okay.
Oh,
Come on.
There we go. This thing is strong. It panics. You guys have that almost maybe moment of, like, oh, it's a person, and then the hands catch between net and just rip it apart, and the hand catches on the ladder and it hauls itself up towards you. It is on the ladder. It is actually, that is going to be in its action, but I am using its movement. It is going to rise up and onto the boat. So it moves over the banister. Everyone sort of moves backwards. Joe is retreating towards the stern. Bernie, you are standing, you notice, looking down right in the middle of your grandson's ward, and Luce, you're a little bit just sort of between the two, having thrown the net and stepped away. All of you see this thing coming forward in the full light of its hideousness. You can see there are open sores across almost all bare skin, and there are sort of like puckered holes all along the sides where either like just something like rough has dragged against it or small things have actually eaten it. Seems as though this may have come out of the boat below. Although on instinct, you're not like this thing was down there for centuries. It's like dumped in the last like week, few days, something like that. I'm gonna need repeated sanity rolls from Bernie and Luce. You both have already taken... Actually, Luce, you didn't take any, so you're not reducing. Bernie, you'll reduce this damage by 1. Okay, Bernie, you take 0. You are good. Luce, yours is a full D6, please.
Beautiful.
Okay. Still okay?
Oh, yeah, like this
Right.
is the
Still okay.
first I've lost in
Right.
the day, so what is that?
Alright. We are all good. Whoop.
It's not enough to do a temporary, and it's not... I'm still a ways away from my...
Okay, nicely done. It hauls itself up and stands threateningly.
Do I, at the, like... When do we get Cthulhu Mythos? Remind me when that
So,
happens.
when you first trigger a bout of madness as a result of seeing horrors, you will gain 5
Got it.
points of Cthulhu Mythos, and then you gain more each following time. Gaspar, yours was for reading the tome. I don't think it'll apply there, but if you get one for seeing one of these things, I think you'd get another point. I believe you get a point for each one following. I'd need to double check that. That's actually a rule I've not been real hot on. As in, like, I haven't
Do we-
applied reliably in the past.
Also, like, once we've sort of, as you say, once we've seen something once, or if we need to make another sanity check with it, there'll be a
You
limit to the
reduce
amount we can take.
Yeah, you can only take a maximum of its max value, this one being 6. So you reduce once you take, so Bernie's already taken a point, so reduced by that, the 1 point given nothing. I'm also kind of setting that, like, this is all the same beat. I'm just doing a different one for this one because the others all have, like, robes and are kind of hiding their nastiness. This one it's got it out in the open, and it's clearly a horrible, horrible monster. All right, Bernie, it is your turn. What would you like to do?
Rifle/shotgun.
Cool. Did you have your gun? Well, actually, I don't want to turn this into a gotcha. If you had your gun with you, you went for a swim, and that will wet a lot
No,
of the
I
bits
didn't. I
and
didn't
pieces.
have it with me.
So I think it's on
No,
the
I did not have it
boat.
with me. It'd be on the deck.
On the deck?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I would have. I mean, we knew what we were going into. I
Yep.
wouldn't have like sequestered it away. It would
I
be
agree.
out and ready. I did not take it with me because I knew we were going to get wet
I-
probably. So
Can you give me a dexterity roll, please? Just this thing is on here. There's kind of like zones of control as you're fighting. This is just can you get to it and find the ammunition quickly. If you succeed this, you'll be able to fire this round. Failure is just perfect. Nicely done. You squeeze around the thing, find your what is it, shotgun, rifle? What kind of what's Bernie's choice?
Shotgun.
Hell yeah. Alright.
Shotgun.
Bernie finds her gun and you can fire. So this thing is in the mix. So there's gonna be a penalty dice for your allies and stuff. It's also well within point blank range. So that's gonna cancel it out. It's gonna be a straight roll. It's only if we get into like fumble territory that you risk hurting your allies. You are also close enough that you are going to deal a whopping 4d6 damage on a success. However, this cannot impale. All right, send this thing back to whence it came.
No, come on.
Nuts.
Bad time to miss.
Yeah. I think unfortunately that's just gonna have to lie.
Does it choose to dodge though? Because don't you get a
No.
bone if it doesn't throw itself?
If it throws itself prone, it applies a penalty dice. It's not going to do that. It's just going to try and. Okay, Bernie, I've got a push for you. If you're interested, you can reroll this. Any failure is going to hit allies.
Which allies?
We will do it.
My counterpoint.
We'll do a luck roll, I think.
I mean, Tobias was briefly our ally, right?
Just magnet snaps across. You don't know who this guy is. It's your father. He's back.
Can I posit that instead of hitting an ally, it explodes on me?
Yes. I'll take that. Yeah. Works for me. Okay. Damage will be applied to yourself. Full thing. This is a big push. This could be a lot of damage. So, you know, you can just miss and you can just shoot again next round.
Next,
Look at that
Losing.
face.
Yeah,
Oh,
I was.
Losing
shit.
a
No, I'm
head
shooting. I'm doing it. I'm doing it.
You're
Yeah.
gonna
No.
Okay.
Come on. Oh well.
All right,
What
Bernie.
did you
We had a good
do?
Bernie, that is going to
You've
be
got to take risks in this life.
4d6, and you do not have any armor. Roll that, and then we will
Yeah, I'm dead.
describe.
Alex, what are you? No.
It was on the ship.
Yeah, defend
Well,
the
there's-
territory.
So are you?
Friendly territory.
Dead.
Is that
Oh.
dead? Is that dead?
Well-
I'm like
Yeah.
Yeah.
10 hit points.
I'm like 11.
Okay. Bernie darts under the thing's blow, catches the shotgun, and tumbles it into her hands. She deftly places in 2 rounds and closes the chamber. But as she swings it round to point at the thing, the tendril erupts out, catches it, knocks it around, and by the time the trigger is squeezed in the fray, something hits Bernie. There is a loud bang, and Gaspard, just as you're seating yourself in your car, you see back the way you came, you don't see it, but you just have this like sick feeling. Luce, you see Bernie crumple. You don't necessarily know if it's... Should have done a secret roll. Doesn't matter. You don't necessarily know if it's death or just very, very badly wounded. I'm going to need a sanity roll from you, Luce. This is seeing someone close to you. If my dead filter still works. No, I took it off.
Uh-oh.
It's
Oh,
not
shit.
saying it's a fumble, but I think
That
that's
is
a
a
fumble.
fumble. Okay. Now we're
Sorry.
cooking with
Oh,
gas.
Oh dear.
I'm not.
I think it's a
I was-
D6.
This
I was
is-
about to say, genuinely, because I thought it didn't say it, curse still happened. I was like, wow, there's a really extended fight for Cthulhu that has gone without disaster. And then, boom.
And then, wouldn't you know? Witness a
could this
friend's
be a-
violent.
Say except
Could
you're
this be our
welcome.
first TBK mid-campaign?
This
Like, I think
could-
we had
that
TBKs
was
like at
what I was
the
gonna
end
say.
of campaigns.
This could
Yeah.
go
This
poorly.
isn't looking good.
This is, I
So,
was going to say it at the top of the session. I'm like, wow, this could actually be our first like mid-campaign
Yeah.
TPK. But I was like, no, don't say that.
Also,
don't do that. Don't say
I'll
that.
just say in terms of rule stuff for dying, there's a lovely handy flowchart which Jackson just reshared with us again, which has all of the options and the niche things that you can heal at this. The amount of damage here goes straight down into a big thing that has a grave picture
yeah.
and it's just
And it
dead.
says, it's over.
Tombstone.
Yeah.
Death.
So, witnessing a friend's violent death, 1d6. That is going to be
And
a
a
full
fumble
6
means
points.
it's a 6.
To be a maximum. Luce, you take 6 points. Is that indefinite? Or is that just temporary?
No, that's one off.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
Please make an
Ah,
intelligence
bastard.
test. And yours we have previously established as red mist.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Thank goodness.
You don't know if she's dead. She could be
Then that's a good
alive.
thing.
You need to kill this thing, and you need to save her. You need to deal with this. You are still in control of yourself. That might just avert how things unfold. Okay. That was Bernie's turn. Tobias acts next.
That was Bernie's last turn.
Tobias.
That was my last turn.
quick.
Tobias continues his chanting. He moves out of the way a little bit. He's pacing slightly. As he does, you see him stumble, slipping in the gravel. But he's now bellowing the words in Old Gaelic. They come lilting across the air, and where they meet your ears, they burrow through the drums like nails into your skull. He is nearing a climax, but he has not reached it yet. That is Tobias's turn. Paul, it is yours.
Okay, well, I've seen some madness. I assume I don't have a clear enough view on what's happening on the ship to know what's going there, and we've got our own problems, frankly.
You hear a gunshot, they're having their own fight, yeah.
But I've been told we've been keeping each other pretty up to date about the nature of like the spells and the weird stuff, and I know Tobias has, handed over the Tommy gun, so he's got to have another weapon. We can put a few things together. I figure if I dart out, try and get to him, he's just going to cast this at me. I don't think I really have time. I don't really know how spells work, but in my head, better than just hitting him, because cars will explode. You can't double fire on a house, right? And we're right next to the door. I figure I can leap out, sprint into the house, and my idea is I'll come out the back and then loop the jetty.
Okay.
There's one of those things where this is a little bit of my head. Paul's in the moment. Does that all sound like it'd track for what he's seeing?
Double fire the house is, I think you could double fire it. It'll suck.
Well, it is also
but no, you're right.
cover at the
But for
best,
that one, yeah, it's only looking at the house. And as we've so excellently established, if a car goes on fire, it will blow up. So you're like, I don't want to be driving the gasoline bomb when I go on fire. I want to be in the nice house. So yes, I think that absolutely
I'd like the wizard to not be able to see me, and I'd like to be, also there's a vague idea that maybe I'll spot something as we run.
Jim, you want to leap out of the car and charge to the house.
Yep, and I yell to Gaspar, I go, into the house, quick!
Okay.
and rush.
If he blows up the car, there's at least one of those things nearby.
Yeah.
Could be helpful.
Unlikely to go well for it. All right, Jim.
Plus, the insurance, I don't know what the rental agency was like, but spells probably have something going on.
Jim, you go, Paul rather, you go racing into the house, you break the door open, it splinters away from the frame, and can I get you to make a dexterity roll as you enter to avoid the flames?
Certainly. Dexterity roll just coming out.
The real wall of red on this one.
Yeah. Well, I can't see my own roll. I'll luck that. That's
8 points. Okay, you want to spend luck? All right.
Yeah.
You tumble out of the way, but just in time, one of the rafters actually collapses, shifting the direction of the flames, and you arrive on the inside. Quickly describe the interior for you. It's on fire, first of all. Just assume everything I have has like burning as a adjective.
Cinders, smoldering.
I'll tell you if it's not burning. How about that?
Embers.
So there is a pile of like blankets, like a nest almost, to one side is what immediately comes to mind. It's a big pile of blankets and pillows and things. There is a manky-looking couch, which is looking more manky from the fire. There's a set of tables and chairs pushed off across the side where you can see bottles, cards, things, just general detritus, lots of empty cans and drinks. And there is a single bed for like a single person and a table towards the side of it that looks to have been recently... Well, like it's been like the mattress flipped over and looked underneath and things like that, so all the bedding has been scattered. There is a fireplace towards the rear, which has piles of ash inside it, and clearly it looks as though someone has grabbed the pile of ash, pulled it out, and then scattered through it. And you can still see what seem like pages and things where possibly evidence was burnt and someone has filtered through it to see what is valuable. The ones remaining at a glance appear to just be like little bits and pieces, scraps and scribbles. There is
basically
also
assuming that, like, from what I can look like, so what I can see, Tobias got the big stuff, unless I want to stay here and do like a formal accounting or something.
That's right. There is also a trapdoor on the floor that you can just make out. A rug was pulled over it, but it was a bad disguise. The rug is new, like way newer than anything else in the house, and someone would probably immediately just pull it back, and it has been pulled back, and you can see the trapdoor close underneath it. Actually, no, not underneath it at all, because the rug's fully away from it. The trapdoor is currently closed. Going down there would possibly avoid the fire, but very real risk of becoming trapped inside. There is there'll be a back door that you can charge straight towards, and it is less on fire than this one.
I think, like, if the trapdoor's avoiding the fire, then potentially we can, like, dig it out, or I can make a decision once I know what's happened to Gaspar. So yeah, back door. I think I'm just gonna. I try and just basically barge straight through.
You go racing through towards the other side. I'm gonna leave you. Actually, you succeeded your dexterity roll. Yeah, you punch through the other side and you emerge racing around the back of the shed, and just coming around the corner to see the boat in the distance. You've kind of gone a roundabout way, so you're gonna have another round of running and then the swim, jump, whatever. But you are on the way. Okay, that was Paul. We go to Luce. You see Bernie crumple. Blood begins to pool at your feet. The creature shows no reaction and continues its attack. What would you like to do?
Am I within range of the sigil? Because we know that how, like...
Yeah, you were sort of the in-between. When it attacks, you could have stepped around and towards it.
Right. I'm aware that the plan was to eat fire on this thing. And as far as I'm aware, the thing needs to die before I can do anything else. I want to, while I still have somewhat of my right mind, take a couple of steps back into the radius of the sigil that we have that's meant to be to protect us from these things. Mm-hmm. And eat a flaming bottle of paraffin at this thing.
Sick.
Just, Molotov cocktail the shit out of this thing. And like, is Joe also... Joe knows about the sigil. Is he also like in position to be in perimeter?
Joe was on the other side of it. Joe was towards the rear of the ship. The thing is fully between him and it. You are probably the only one that can get towards it. The paraffin was set up there though, because that's where Bernie was preparing it. So yeah.
Yep. I'll yell at Joe to get the ring. To try and but I will leave him to do whatever it is he needs to do to do that. And
you yelled him to get the what? Sorry. Oh, get in the ring. Yeah.
Get in the sigil.
Okay. All right.
Get in the car.
And go. do you want to try and throw the paraffin across it? Okay. Go ahead and make a throw roll, please. And I will contest this with an attack of my own.
That is a success.
Okay. No tempting for luck. It's quite a big hit.
I would love that to be able to do that. I cannot move it. I cannot move the needle.
This is the second attack against it. Bernie's was one, so it has a penalty dice on this roll. Fumble. Nice job, monster. I think as you throw this across it, the net was still caught around one of its legs as it came up. It tumbles slightly, slipping against the side, and is once again sort of half restrained, at least by the netting. As long as you stay out of its reach, it needs to reach down and snap this away before it will be able to attack anyone once more. And the paraffin is across it. It is not lit, but it is completely soaked. Now it just needs the match. So any spark should just about do.
Here's the thing with paraffin lamps is you can actually have lit that before you yeeted it.
Okay.
They've got like
That
a
was the
flint
assumption.
In my mind, it
mechanism
was
at
like
the
a
top.
douse it and then throw. But you know what? I think it's an extra step that's not needed. The thing catches, it goes up in flames as it tumbles to the ground. Very the Lord of the Old Mate and his son in Lord of the Rings.
Oh, God.
Goes towards the
I
edge.
always forget his name.
I can't remember.
The Regent.
Yeah, no, the Steward of Gondor.
Gondor.
Anyway, this guy.
Minaclar.
That doesn't sound right. Never heard of that person in my life. This guy goes up in flames. He's thrashing about. Clearly, it hurts more than Denethor. Thank you. He goes up in flames, and there's this like scream coming from inside that is uncomfortably human as the corpse begins to crisp, and it's stumbling back. But the netting stops it from getting towards you. It also stops it from retreating to the water just at the moment. So it's kind of caught between a rock and a hard place. The last person to act on this round is the other Order of the Stone member. Seeing Paul leave the car, he's going to try to get to it to take control of the vehicle. So he will come around and this minion, this corpse boy, will take a swing at him as he goes past. I wish you would hate you. And he's able to get into it. This is actually their vehicle. They are, competent enough drivers. So he's going to begin to get seated. And comfortable. Where's my drive order? Here it is. I'm a little rolly. You suck, dude. I hate you. I hope you die.
Connected.
Hey, look, unless Tobias changes his track, that car is going to explode.
Yeah, for sure. It's this dude. He's like, oh boy, Tobias, you're there too. Hop in.
Dave, you do you. You're the keeper, but my little heart of hearts, I would like this car to explode, please.
Would love this car to explode. He gets in the car. That is the last member of that round, and we go back to the top once more to reset the scene. And Alex, I want to give you a beat as Bernie in particular, just to describe the final, moment or however, last thoughts, things like that. But so first of all, two of these corpses are racing out of the woods and charging towards the vehicle. Inside it, the Order of the Stone member has just gotten into the driver's seat, and Gaspar, you're probably about to decide if you want to leave. Tobias is still behind, continuing his chant. Paul moved quickly enough, and he doesn't seem to have been diverted. Either Gaspar was the target, or possibly just the vehicle itself. Paul has raced through the burning building, getting a sense of the interior and barreling out the other side, stumbling on the stones, then coming about in a tight circle to charge towards the foggy sea where it is anchored along the shore. Aboard the ship, one of these corpses is now completely ablaze and is denathoring itself to oblivion. Luce is standing in the ward, having thrown the paraffin, and Joe circles around the rear, trying to get a sense of the situation. Unfortunately, at the base of the stairs down into the hold, Bernie Green lies crumpled and still. Alex, what did it... I kind of narrated a bit like how it went down, but if you have anything you'd like to add to that, I very much want you to kind of have control of that situation, that scene. So either then or kind of like this last minute, like a death isn't necessarily sudden, you haven't been evaporated. Is there a beat here that you want to focus on?
I think it was the misplaced shotgun shot was like through the neck. So I think there's a beat where she's managed to get her hand over it and keep the blood from coming out for a little while. But that's arterial, so that's only going to work for so long. And I think if this thing is like flailing around, denathoring itself, basically, whether or not it's got the presence of mind to put itself into the water to try and help itself, I think there's I was point blank range, so I think it's one hand on the throat and the other hand around its ankle,
Yes.
You're not going anywhere.
Yes. Yes. Amazing.
This is...
And you can feel your hand being...
You're here until you're burnt to a crisp.
I love it. Captain says when you can come aboard, and Captain says when you're allowed to
Captain
leave.
says when you can leave.
Amazing. All right, awesome. Yeah, you're just locked in. You're the one holding it in place. And
The ship
refuse
isn't
to
going
leave.
down, but you're going down with the captain.
And that is another thing of note. This thing is on fire and on the boat, so whole separate problem there that we'll deal with. Alex, you guys have.
It's not wooden.
It's not fire still.
This isn't
There's
great,
enough
but it's
wood.
not.
It's definitely. It is the sort of thing that you train for, and if it gets out of hand, it will be bad. You will just need to deal with that in the next few rounds. Alex, I gave you guys access to Joe a little bit ago. Could you please control Joe for the remainder of this combat? He acts first, and so setting the scene for you. He has.
Hello, Joe.
He fired all of his rounds from the revolver, so he's doing a thing where you can put one bullet in each round and shoot. So he has an empty revolver effectively. He has taken some sanity damage, which I didn't record. I just made rolls. But he is not insane. Beyond that, you kind of have a bit of a sense for the character. If you just let me know what you want to do, you are going to act first.
Yeah, I'm getting in the sigil. Thanks.
Okay. All right. Can you make a dexterity roll to try and or dodge, but basically trying to get round and past it?
Yeah. Watch me kill 2 characters in the space of
That would be amazing.
That would be very funny. No.
Joe's
capable.
All right.
You did roll as Bernie then, RIP.
No. Oh, it's just the name.
Oh,
yeah.
I did,
It is Joe's.
Oh, no,
But that was
the right
Joe's.
chat.
It's Joe's stats.
Yeah.
You just
Name
need to
the chat.
change.
That was just the nickname. Yeah. Just need to change my chat nickname.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Joe leaps over the thing and lands in the sigil. You still have an action if there's
Why
something
Jim
you'd like
always
to
rolls
do.
this himself?
Sorry.
You can just try and
This
shoot.
thing is
You
still
can do
flailing, but it's pretty much dead, right?
No, it's there's a bit of meat on its bones. It'll get there, but the fire is a slow and painful death, and it has several rounds of trying to kill you until we get there.
All right. Well, I'm just gonna unload into it then.
Okay. All right. Make a. So you put in one bullet and shoot. So make a firearms roll. Is within point blank, so you can take a bonus dice, and there is no longer a risk of hitting any allies because the 2 of you are in the perimeter. Okay. That is
Can't run
3
and shoot,
points
sorry.
off. We have not done luck for.
Do you want me to roll
Joseph.
something for Joe? Yeah.
I don't really want to give him luck a whole lot, just because it's. I tell you what, Alex, we're gonna halve it. Can you just do a d6 times 5? That's close enough. That'll just be your pool for the.
How lucky is Joe?
I don't know if this math is gonna do it straight
It's
away.
normally
Maybe.
3. What is
Yeah.
it normally?
Yes, it will.
3d6
3d6
times 5.
times 5, yeah.
There you
So
go, 20
1d6
points.
times 5.
Yeah.
Nice.
20 points. And I'm not going to factor him into group luck
In which
checks or
case-
anything for this one.
Yes.
So this is just your pool to do stuff with.
In which
yeah,
case,
so-
3 points of luck. I would like to hit this thing.
Okay, you can go ahead and roll your gun weapon. I think you'll be a d8.
Look.
There's this horrible little monster.
Nah, look, you hit it.
Hey, we take those. All right, sit done. I will record the following. It is still, it's got a bit of meat on its bones. It's still hanging in. Sucks for everyone else. So there's Joe, leaps over it and tumbles into the circle to take a shot, and then stand beside Luce. We go across now to Gaspar. Gaspar, the driver's
All right.
changed. Driver shift.
No, I will have tried to stick close to Paul. Not close to Paul as we were leaving. Like as we were jumping out of the car, we could do a little bit of a separate duck and weave to avoid any fire spells coming our way. Yep. But then, try to catch up to him and stick with him as we charge through the burning building.
Okay, can you make a dexterity roll to dive through the burning building?
I doubt it.
Dave, I was going to say, but if it affects... Oh, never mind.
Nicely done.
Nice.
Do you need a hard?
No, you've got it. You leap through. You see the same layout as Paul. So there is a trapdoor going lower. No.
Would a hard stop Thomas, from redirecting the spell?
Advice. No, I'm blowing up that car.
Yeah, he's pretty mad.
Worry not.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
You're able to dodge the flames, which seem to stick to the ground in strange manners. You see the trapdoor, and then apart from that, just the sort of furniture and things around. You can see the way that Paul left.
We follow Paul.
Okay, round you go, and
That's all I got going on.
You meet up with Paul on the other side, the two of you racing around the shoreline and seeing the jetty, where you can see you have that like sinking feeling in your stomach that you can't quite place, but there's Luce and Joe standing in the ward, so at least it's working and they're fighting something on fire. Maybe things haven't gone so bad after all. Alright, minions. My little guys. First of all, this thing's gonna take fire damage. Jeepers. Okay.
Fire's pretty substantial, yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know.
and-
I only know it in D&D terms, and it's like 4d6 or something.
Yeah, for
that
sure.
seems
It's not
excessive.
good. No, that's like, yeah. We're out in like lava territory. We're just in fire. So, who threw it? Luce, can you roll a d6 for me, please? And this will just continue until it puts it out, which it will not.
3.
Nice. Okay, we are chewing through it. It is getting
Why do we get rid
by
of
the
paraffin?
second.
This thing's
It
great.
is also, while it is on fire, it has a penalty dice for its attacks, which it definitely does try to make. It also has to make a power roll to attack you. I'll roll it just to see. Why not? It'd be great if I got to latch someone and bring them down to the briny depths.
No.
No dice. This is going to be targeting Luce. You chucked the thing at it. It does succeed. First penalty. It fails. Alright, it's over. It is...
Am I able to, is there an opportunity for me to riposte or something like that in this moment? Or is it more like, because it's a ranged attack, for want of a better term?
Yeah, it's kind of firing in. You're also in the ward and kind of staying out of the way. You could, if you fail this, you possibly risk like stepping out a little bit. Actually, no, sorry. Just go ahead and roll it. The risk for fighting in wards would be scuffing them or damaging them, but you guys welded this thing into the ship's hull. Like, you can stand on any part of it. Just go. You can roll a riposte to attack.
Cool. I'm gonna say because I yeeted a thing last round, I'm not gonna have my axe, so I'm just gonna go at it with probably the pocket knife that I have, maybe a wrench. I don't know which makes more sense in this scenario.
Yep, that works. So it'd be a D4 plus your damage bonus.
All right, let me get out Dad's knife and do a stab.
Oh.
Nope.
Dang.
That is,
Yeah.
but it's fine. It failed as well.
Oh,
So
sure.
take a swing at it, but no.
Nice. Okay. That is it. The other two swarm the car and try to. Well, they kind of just like are repelled around the side of the bonnet as they go, and towards the back where they crawl into it and begin to tear this dude apart. I'm not going to make rolls because they can't roll well.
Yeah.
But yeah, they just begin attacking, and this dude's looking bad, and very shortly things are going to go poorly for them anyway. It is going to be Tobias's turn as we pass Bernie Green. The last of the incantation leaves his lips, and you see him clench his hand tighter and suddenly twist it in a wrenching motion. And as he does, it's as though he pulls wet tissue paper from your perception of the vehicle, and behind it is naught but flame. The hood erupts into fire, completely destroying the ward that was marked inside it, and as smoke pours out of the melting tires, the engine promptly catches, and with a shattering boom, the car explodes into metal and dust. The explosion from the engine did a significant portion of it, but the spell itself is reasonably powerful. That fire continues in that area, just pouring out and around it. And, as you suspected, Tobias doesn't have a lot of juice left to give. And that spell has a hefty toll.
Let's see. I assume that the passengers of the car are taken out by the
Exploded
mass-
to death.
Yeah.
Exploded to pieces. If they're in there, they will suffer for a bit and then die. He wheels around slightly, you see blood, not like the little drip down the nose, pouring down his mouth. His ears are leaking, the singes around there. You see one of his eyes actually pop forward, almost out of his skull, completely bloodshot. He tries to say something, but his tongue is thick with fluid. He reaches forward and collapses onto the ground. You do not know if he is dead or unconscious.
Couldn't have happened to a nicer guy.
Has fallen. He does have something in his hand that he seemed to be willing to risk quite a bit to get. He also possibly is worth as a hostage / return / you want to get the kill for yourselves. I leave him where he falls for you to do with as you wish. It is Paul's turn.
Sprint along with Gaspar. I intend to get to Tobias. I'll yell, get the papers, then we go to the boat.
You are going for Tobias?
Yes, I'm intending to get right over to him.
Okay. Gaspar, I'll get your intention. Are you going to go with him just to place you in the scene accordingly?
Yeah, I'm back. I'm happy to follow orders at this point.
Okay. All right. The two of you go racing round. We'll deal with Gaspar. I'll move the two of you. Gaspar's already active, actually, so Gaspar is a bit slower. So, Paul, you kind of keep running and just yell, like, we got to get these. Do you want to just grab the whole body, or do you want to just wrench the papers out of his hand?
No, I was intending to hope that Gaspar gets the papers. I want to focus on the body. I have a decent chunk of first aid, and I'm fairly big. Like I take him with the assumption that if he's like, if I get to him and he's like shallow breathing onto my shoulder and he's going. If I get to him and he is not breathing, I will try a first aid before we move.
Do you want to give me? Moving him will only make things worse. Stopping to assess is the first aid, so you can just grab him and roll the dice, or you can stop and
try first aid.
Okay, you go ahead and give me a first aid roll, please.
Success.
Okay, he had a major wound and he was in the process of dying. You are able to stabilize it for the time being. As you do so, as you go through these compressions, you feel something underneath his jacket. He has a second magazine for the Tommy gun. He also has the scroll that he protects, like tucked in under his shirt. And he's still holding the papers that he like grabbed from wherever. You can see like burns all across his hands. Like he looks in a bad way, but he is stable for now, and you can feel like shallow breathing. You begin to get him up and onto yourself as you turn.
Artifacts for the wizard. I'll take the body.
Perfect. All right, Luce, you are going to act next. This thing is still going, but you've kind of got this in hand now. How do you want to, as you kind of draw this to a beat, the threats are running out. It's more just the dealing with the fire that's on the ship and how this thing is finished off. Do you guys just sort of like stay in the safety of the ward and watch it until it burns? Do you try and get out there and just clonk it on the head to close the thing? You also possibly think that maybe Bernie needs help, so maybe urgency would give you a window to offer support.
If we are moving narratively rather than mechanically, I would
Kinda
love,
half, yeah.
I would love the ability to, hold on. My brain had nothing, but I'm like, no, but Bernie though. Is it still in a state where it's going to lash out at us, or does it look kind of like on its last legs and I can kind of turn my back on this thing?
Lash out. It is a threat, and you are realizing that you guys actually do have this mechanically. I'm not too worried about like a stray thing, but what I do want to emphasize is just the strength of these things that seem to have been created somewhat incidentally. Like they are, this one even alone is still a threat. That said, it's within the realm of like, you are a big and strong person. A single successful hit with the wrench takes it out. This just never had that. It had the fire and a couple of like stray shots from Joe. So it never really had that like one big hit. So if you give me a like successful fighting brawl, I'm happy for that to close its story. Otherwise it does continue to kind of lash around.
All right, I will go for a fighting brawl, just like at this point to try and, as you say, knock it out. So it'll be wrench.
Yeah.
Just to kind of like conk.
Yep.
I do intend, maybe like not as part of knocking it out, but definitely as part of like dispatching this thing, I would like to take its head off with a fire axe before kicking it back into the ocean or doing whatever it is that we do with it. That was my like, if we're in narrative territory, that's what I'm doing. If we still need mechanical, I will lean into the like dispatch first.
Sick. Yeah, 100%.
Assuming that I can roll a fighting roll. Yes.
Perfect. Yeah.
And somehow that's
That
does a D8, and I thought I'd roll, but no, that's 8 with my build.
That D8 actually is enough to kill it regardless. So you are able to.
The lopping its head off is a thing that I'm doing because I'm hanging on to sanity by a thread, and I need to take my anger out on something.
Between yourself and Joe, you can kill it and quickly roll it into the water so that it doesn't burn the ship and
yeah, I was gonna say, assuming rolling it into the water doesn't somehow magically heal it or something like that.
No, it doesn't. Well, I don't know. You take the head off first, at least. That'll stop it.
Luck.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look.
What you don't want is fire on the ship. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think as Joe finishes that off, you see Paul with Tobias on the shoulder and Gaspar chasing after as the house crumples and the roof now falls down. They are only a little ways away, and you can see Gaspar looking about nervously and lose for a moment as Joe like deals with the fire. It's just you here looking down at Bernie's fallen body. What are you doing?
Do I know that she's gone?
Do you have? Yes, you do.
Once
you inspect,
I have above base first aid. I have 40 first aid. So essentially, looking at this, like I'm kind of getting over there, rushing over with the intention of first aiding. I get there, I'm a little bit above base first aid. Am I looking at something that is beyond?
You get there and you see the neck has been blown open. Her face is white, but her hands are still death gripped on that thing that went over the side, and she's actually still like got its boot where she was not letting that thing get into the circle with you and Joe.
I'm going to very gently collect Bernie and move her somewhere comfortable. Whether that's the like just her area of the ship where she rests. I assume the captain has like a quarters that are a little different from everyone else's. So I'm gonna collect her as gently as possible, move her to her cot, do my best to wrap something gently around the neck so that it's not like a gaping wound, even though at this point it's probably not really bleeding much anymore. And I know that everyone else is going to need strength. So in the brief moment, or in the breath that I have before I have to become the steel that I work with every day, I'm gonna kiss Bernie on the forehead and say, Bernie Green, you were one of the best captains I've ever had. I include my pa in that. I never said this to your face, but I love you. And wherever you go next, I hope you bring that fire with you. And I'm gonna keep this fire on this ship burning in your honor. Sleep well, Captain. I'll see you on the other side. and I will kind of cover their head just so, again, it's clear. Like close eyes, cover head, make a small sign of a cross. Because while I'm not deeply religious, there is an element of that, I think, still buried. What is religion if not formalized superstition? And I think I will just exit, close the door, go back, like, dry eyes. Right, okay, and stomp up with like a look of someone who has shit to do.
Yep. Gaspar and Paul are able to get aboard with Tobias, who will find himself down to one of the bunks where you can let him rest and tend to him. And unless there's anything further you'd like to do, you can depart the harbour and make your way back away, and presumably back to either Greyport or Boston. It's actually not super important just the moment. So what I want to focus in on is, for Paul and for Garrett, kind of defining them when and how you wish.
Paul and Garrett?
Gaspar, sorry, Paul, Garrett, and Gaspar. Like, at what point do you become aware of Bernie's death, and like, what's the immediate response? And like, because it can be like, oh, we just have to work, we just get the thing moving, and then when I find a moment, I go down, or is it like what's your most like, what's the biggest reaction?
I will
like
tell them.
Yeah.
Like, I will obviously say, Bernie's gone.
Yeah.
When they come aboard. I also like kind of say it to Joe.
Yeah. I guess Paul, maybe we'll do you first. What's your...
Sort of after a couple of seconds of just immediate kind of reeling from hearing it, Bernie would have kicked me if I didn't immediately take on first mate duties. So I go, okay, Greyport, and I kind of delay things a little bit in terms of how I process things, but I also very much think that this is something that Gaspar is going to have a lot more time needing to deal with. So it's a bit of, okay, I kind of go into just very much let's just get the boat to shore, not in a callous sense, but just I fall in first mate roles as Bernie would have wanted.
Do you kind of taking on the duties that she did, along with the ones that you had previously. I guess this is for you as well, Alex. How do the two of you think that Paul would Bernie be happy with Paul stepping up and taking on more captain's duties? Do you feel that might have been something that was like the thing? Or do you always think like Paul, and Jim for you maybe, is Paul always like more comfortable as like the second and like actually like really relishes that like working with the crew and that kind of like lowered?
I think he's probably happy to step up in the very short term, because like there would be circumstances where if Bernie falls overboard, there's like we've got emergency procedures in. But I think that his long-term thing would probably be like, okay, well, the boat probably gets inherited to Gaspar and then goes from there. I don't think he's considering himself to be Captain B.
I guess we'll find out from Alex what the will says.
Pilot boat. Who has pilot boat?
I have pilot
35.
boat.
Right.
Because ship's owner isn't necessarily ship's captain or helmsman. Like you can bandy
That's
that
right.
about a bit for the practicalities of the thing.
Oh yeah, because Gaspar is ship's owner. But Bernie had 70 pilot boat.
Yeah. Bernie's been doing this for a long ass time.
Yeah.
Bernie knows what she's about.
Traditionally, that's the first mate's job, is to step up as soon as the captain is incapacitated.
Certainly in this practical, I'm more just like thinking about like is Paul like kind of like from
So in the short term, that's what happens in the immediate. In the longer term, and I might just zoom ahead for a second then, and we'll go back to Gaspar in a second. I think that there's a moment when we do get back to Greyport where he'll sort of take a moment to see the body. I think, and he probably going to goes, is guns, man. Like, because he's got this whole thing about having been shot. Bernie has been accidentally shot, and it's always just guns. They suck. I actually think that Bernie and Paul were probably really excellent professional partners and were perfectly good friends, but were not sort of fantastic best mate kind of friends. So it's much more in the context of mourning from like as part of like a role that happens.
Yeah.
That's where Paul is.
But what's your pilot boat?
40.
Right.
Getting high.
Because it
Thanks for
looks
coming
like
into the-
Joe is got Joe is 50, so it looks
Well-
like Joe is driving the boat arc.
Yeah.
Thanks for,
I mean,
thanks for
he was-
coming into the interview today. What's your pilot boat? All right, thank you
you
very
can
much
leave.
for being in touch.
I think the thing is that like the captain, the person in charge of the vessel, and whoever Bernie like says this is who the ship goes to, is going to be the person that Bernie trusts to keep the ship going and to like keep like
Yeah.
who actually wants to be on the ocean and wants to like do stuff. And like the pilot, you can find someone to pilot a boat.
Yeah,
They don't-
not necessarily. Again, like the owner, not necessarily a captain. It would be
Helmsman
Paul
is a role,
Paul
yeah.
is in charge. Gaspar owns the boat, and I guess Joe's driving it.
Hey.
How about yourself, Gaspar? How do you respond this event?
Definitely complete denial. Nothing can get through his emotional carapace in this moment, having just run through a burning building
Yeah.
outside of a firebombed car that was impaled by a tentacle monster. He'll just focus on the fact that we're all on the boat and hearing that his grandmother's gone down below and is on the bed. He's just going to say, "Yeah, good. We all need to rest.
Oh.
I
I'm gonna have a rest. I'm gonna shut my eyes for a bit, and then we'll feel better in the morning."
I think
And probably stomp off to his bunk for the foreseeable, because not only after that situation is nothing getting through to him emotionally, but certainly not with these people standing around look at him.
yeah.
And it's probably not until the middle of the night that would hear some sobbing and weeping and wailing, and "I'm sorry, I wasn't good enough. I couldn't do it."
It occurs to me that your last interaction with Bernie was as surly teenage.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I was setting that up for
Yeah.
maximum feel bads.
Oh.
Oh. You're able to return to Greyport briefly to just resupply and kind of just see about practical matters. And then to Boston. On your Greyport stop-in, do you want to alert the police of anything? You have the person in your care that did the killing.
Yeah.
If you wanted to point them towards it, you could. Your alternative is you know where the Order of the Stone is based out of not too far from Boston. That could be your other destination with it. Could also be anonymous hospital drop-off. You were told as well by Michelle that she wanted to meet with you kind of after. And because like Ben rolled really well on like persuading. Like she was like, yeah, come inner circle. Let's work together on this. Bernie's no longer here. So the decision kind of falls to the three of you on how you want to handle this.
I don't think dropping Tobias off with the police is going to make us any friends with the Order of the Stone. And while this specific subset of the Order of the Stone were shit kickers, Luce has a bit more respect for Michelle. Whether anyone else does and how Gaspar feels about the whole situation is entirely up to him. Luce's intention is to go back to Boston to work out what the next steps are for themselves, either on the foggy sea or like finding work on a different vessel. It's kind of up in the air of what the go is at the moment. But definitely wants to go and hear what Michelle has to say. And unless there is a strong feeling otherwise, is very happy to be part of ferrying Tobias off to his sister to be like, your problem.
Another pitch. What if instead of Boston we go to Arkham, and then we make Tobias, we link up with Professor,
Bethnal.
what's his face, Dr. Bethnal, who will have been studying this stuff and get Tobias to share what he knows, what secrets he have,
Yeah,
and then,
maybe.
you know, make Michelle, make Michelle come to us, and it's, you know, it's coming to
It's definitely a bit of a
turf.
I mean, Arkham
safer
is-
place away from the headquarters of the Order of the Stone, where there's going to be some
Yeah.
other questions.
Let's not meet on their territory. That's what I'm
Yeah,
thinking.
also Arkham is, I think, pretty well known for having some pretty decent asylum. Because there's a non-zero
That is
number of people go a
also-
little squiggy. So
Yep,
like
that's-
the idea of going, oh yeah, we know that Arkham
Well,
University.
he does need a
at least,
hospital
like-
and stuff too. Like,
yeah,
absolutely.
and Arkham. I think Arkham, University has a pretty renowned hospital attached to it, if I'm remembering
It does, I
correctly.
can't remember,
So like,
St.
being
Mary's
like,
or something.
hey, we've got your brother. We've taken him to Arkham because like that's one of the best places, and that was I don't know if it's actually the easiest for us to get to, but I'm gonna just. I don't know American geography, but I'm just going to pretend that it is,
Yeah,
and be
I
like,
think it's
hey, your brother is unwell. We rushed him to hospital. We'd love to meet you, but please, like, we're going to be here. And also, you might want to, come and get your brother.
I'm gonna totally track.
It's
that.
huge.
I like that.
Here's the other pitch. Gaspar, like, wasn't looking so good. He was on 19 sanity, past indefinite. Probably would have lost some more upon, in the middle of the night when Bernie's, death finally caught up with him. If he's gonna be a wizard, he might need to go to university eventually.
Yeah.
Maybe
And selling the
some
boat and paying for
unhappy
But you were gonna
memories about the
say-
boat.
I thought you'd say if he's going to be a wizard, he might need to go to Arkham Asylum for a stint.
For a little stint.
Well,
Yeah,
that
also
too.
true.
It wasn't
We could all probably
permanent
use some therapy
insanity.
at this point.
But I don't know if Gaspar's going to be much good beyond in the next chapter. He may
So-
have to bail.
That's
Like, I think this is effectively, I don't think this character made it through the campaign.
yeah. Well, or he's also one of the ones with the greatest understanding of what is happening, and the only ability to be the wizard. Maybe he doesn't make it at the end, but also maybe he doesn't make it to the next chapter. You guys get a little bit of from Tobias's palm. You find another handout, which I'll share briefly because I think it's relevant to this, and I'll kind of give a little overview of what it means. So it reads. It's clearly written by Dr. Sebastian again. It's his sort of like mad scrawlings. And it reads, "Power in the holding must gain control. Agran is hungry. Talon is restless. They need Soth. Flesh only sustains them until the fuel of agony of their form runs its course. The end of the trail is the final urn. Casting of the third ritual ends the callousness of pain and betrayal. Soth must awake. The voice of Soth is persistent, always angry, wanting more, needing release and craving the fury of Talon. Agran eats again if time of sundering of three is not collapsed into the void of eternal bliss. Talon has shown me the lays. They converge in Chopoktor Ridge. The third urn shatters there in that lost and forgotten place. In the light of the great blood moon, and finally Agran Talon Soth is whole once more. Glory to the tripartite beast. Peace on earth finally, through the consumption of all pain and all humanity for the good of itself and its children."
I don't buy it.
Research will quickly find the blood moon is in about 30 days. That gives you some time. And the ridge is can be a researched area. It's in Massachusetts. It's a drive.
Hey, guess what? Arkham is too.
Perfect. Genuinely. So as we draw this chapter to a close, the biggest thing I need before we return next week for chapter 3 is do the three of you mad and bloody and trying to rally a fourth investigator, whether it's Joe or someone else, take off for the ridge to try and get ahead of them and see if you can find the cultists there, or do you recognize the position you are in, how weak you currently are, and take the time. Remain in Arkham, working with Dr. Bethnell and others, converging with Michelle and the Order of the Stone to try and understand what it is that you go up against to heal, to recover, and then when you are whole, make for the Ridge.
That one.
Number 2?
Or Gasp. I think Gasp is going to the university with Tobias, and
think
that
we're all
could
going.
mean that.
Well, I was just going to
It
say
could
we
be a
could
split.
Do both. We could genuinely. Hey, do you want to get everything ready? And those who are in a shape to do so can head to Chubbucktor Ridge.
We got Joe, and we got. Can we get Annie back? I
Yeah.
can't remember what happened to
Assumption.
Annie.
I was about to
Joe?
say,
You
can we
could get-
place a call and be like, we have another job?
It's so funny. Annie didn't see anything fucked. Bringing her back into this is awful. I think Michelle can hook you up with like a stone cultist, or you can get like
Ooh.
Gaspar, your siblings. Basically, whoever Alex wants to play can be
Bold
sourced.
assumption that you're getting Joe.
Yeah, so there's
I like
loads.
Joe,
Yeah,
but
he's also kind of
we
one of
might
those ones.
still.
Like, go ahead. Oh, wow, fully froze. Cool timing.
Other more whole states.
Sorry, say that again. I froze for like
Lucid.
10 seconds.
That's so good. Luz is probably in a relatively is one of the people in probably the most stable state. And being probably the most sound of mind out of everyone is the one that is like, no, we know sweet fuck all. And that got someone killed. So if we're gonna do this, I think there is an element of Luce was quite close to Bernie, probably looked up to Bernie, probably was sort of following in Bernie's footsteps of taking care of the crew and caring about the vessel and all that kind of stuff, and not with a mind of being the person to take over, although maybe if Bernie had lived longer perhaps, but definitely with a mind of at one point there might be a point where Luce has to step up to captain a ship, and took that as a learning opportunity, but absolutely is the one who comes in and goes, getting there first doesn't matter if getting there first means that we just get all of us killed. There's nothing gained if we don't know what we're actually up against. The only way we can gain anything by getting there first is if we actually know what we're gaining by getting there, and we don't know that. At this point, y'all are you're your own people, you do what you want, but I will not be going to the Ridge. If you want to go and throw your lives away on a suicide mission, by all means, but we lost someone because we were unprepared. I do not intend to go in unprepared again. I intend to see this through. Ideally, take this thing's bloody head off. For myself, for the sea, for my pa, for Bernie. Once that's done, going to have a nap. I am going to Arkham. I'm going to talk to Michelle. I'm going to talk to the professor. I'm going to try and get some hold of my sanity and myself back. Yeah. And I am going to put my all into being a brick wall between the people I care about and the mythos.
Perfect.
That's my plan, David.
Sounds good. I think it sounds like no one's looking to race off. So we will leave our story here for the moment, and we will return next week for the third chapter, which we will begin by kind of zooming in on these intervening period. And actually, truth be told, you can get to the 15-day mark and go, so we will find out what happens there. You can look into some of these scrolls. You can try and get a bit more of an understanding, and then you can ultimately travel out to oppose these cultists as they attempt to break the final urn, and release Agran Talon Sof upon the world, which will see its demise. Thank you everyone for tuning in, and thank you so much for playing. Well done all. It wasn't a TPK, was a K, but full credit to Bernie for going out guns blazing, and I know Alex always drives her characters 100 miles per hour.
Well, thank you, Dave, for killing. I mean, keeping.
And I'll do it again. All right,
Thanks
we'll
to
see.
chat.
We'll see you all soon. See you next week. Ciao.